is not one of terror or fear, but of resilience and hope. Because 9/11 didn't change us as a nation. Instead, it revealed who we are and who we have the capacity to be. The bravery of our first responders, the example of those who lost loved ones, the service of a new generation of heroes who signed up to wear our uniform. That's who we are. That's who we've always been. Big-hearted people full of courage and optimism. And on this 15th anniversary of a very dark day, that's the light that America continues to shine for the whole world to follow. May God bless this country we love. Enjoy the games.
Please join us in a moment of silence. Thank you. Here to honor America, please welcome Tony and Grammy Award winner Heather Headley and members of the Tuesday's Children Choir to perform the Star-Spangled Banner. Joining them on the field today and displaying our nation's colors are the Jersey City Police and Fire Department Joint Services Cover Guard, along with family members of Tuesday's Children.
Oh, say, can you see? I did that much so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we marched, so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave through the night that our flag was still Star-Spangled Banner to wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Ladies and gentlemen, Heather Headley and the Tuesday's Children Choir.
Back for this opening Sunday of the NFL season 2016. Before kickoff, let's send it down to the sidelines. Here's Tracy Wolfson.
Thanks, Jim. This is the 7th straight year the Jets have opened at home. They have won 5 straight of those games. The Bengals, it's the 7th straight year they've opened on the road. Head coach Marvin Lewis told us yesterday he is honored that his team can open here in the New York metro area. He said keep their emotions under control. That will be key. He also told his team to play fast and play aggressive. Jim?
And he's got his FDNY hat on. He was very outspoken about what an honor it was for his team to be chosen to play in this game. This game being broadcast in Spanish. We're available using the SAP button on your television. Jets win the toss and defer. Adam Jones awaits the kick from Nick Folk. And welcome to the start of another season for these two teams. And Folk drives it to the back of the end zone. Of course, the new touchback rule this year, the ball will be placed at the 25. Andy Dalton coming out to start his 6th season. His first start, by the way, came on the 10-year anniversary of 9/11. He was a rookie starter out of TCU, and again 50 wins in his first 5 years as a quarterback. Was having his biggest season before fracturing a thumb week 14 against Pittsburgh and was not able to return. A.J. McCarron took him the rest of the way, and including into the wild card game. Hill is the tailback, and he gets the handle. They come out of the I formation, and he's wrapped up right away by Steve McClendon, the former Pittsburgh Steeler. This Cincinnati defense set a franchise, or the Cincinnati offense, with Andrew Whitworth. All kinds of things they did last year. Whitworth, a Pro Bowler again, and A.J. Green. 5 years, 1,000-yard season every year were the big threats in the game. LaFell, by the way, on the other side. That's going to be something we're going to dig into a little bit. The wideouts for Cincinnati, losing Marvin Jones, losing Mohamed Sanu. They're without Tyler Eifert today, out with an ankle. Here's Dalton's first pass of the season, and it's pulled down. Nice catch. Green, about 1.5 yards short of the first. 3rd and short coming up. Here's the Jets defense, ranked 4th overall in the league last year. Wilkerson got a big contract in the offseason. Harris with a shoulder injury in the preseason. He's up today and starting. And Rivas had offseason surgery on a wrist that was an issue for him all of 2015. Bernard has come in as the running back here on 3rd and short, and flags are out as Dalton tries to drive ahead.
Ball start. Offense. 74. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Clete Blakeman, he was the referee at Super Bowl 50 in Santa Clara last February 7th. So then called against Fisher, setting up a 3rd and a long 6.
Couple things they're worried about, the Cincinnati Bengals blocking this defensive front, but in passing situations. Jim, we talked about in the pregame or before the game, the young wide receivers, can they beat tight man-to-man coverage?
And one of those young receivers, Phil, is Tyler Boyd, their rookie out of Pittsburgh, taken in the 2nd round. And a timeout called by Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think they had to call the timeout. One, the crowd noise is awesome.
It is. It's intense.
And it's intense on the field, and there's no doubt that the pregame ceremony did it to all the players. Not that they're jacked up to begin with, but what we saw and the emotion that was coming out from all the fans in the pregame, we hear it right now, and the Jets came out. Todd Bowles loves to give different looks. They gave such a crazy defensive look that I think there was some confusion by the Bengals. Andy Dalton says this is a big down. Did the right thing calling the timeout.
So again, it's a 3rd and 6 from the 29. In the pocket, and now taken down for a sack. Lorenzo Maudlin got to Dalton.
Well, what you got to look out for, we're going to talk about it. Look at the slot. There's Darrelle Revis, and there he has Gilchrist, the safety. They're double teaming A.J. Green. They're going to make the Bengals throw it to somebody else besides A.J. Green here today.
Kevin Hubert, a punt. Watch out for the Jets rookie returner Jalen Marshall. Stands back at his 20. Here's Huber's kick that is returnable. Over the shoulder grab, retreats for a moment, gets his feet, and knocked down at the 21. Tackled by James Wright. After a 58-yard punt, Ryan Fitzpatrick comes out. That season, a year ago, most wins he's ever had as a starter, most passing yards per game, and he set the Jets single-season record with 31 touchdown passes.
Well, Fitzpatrick said to us on Friday after practice, quarterbacks usually don't say these kind of things. He said, we're loaded. We got a lot of good players on offense. It's a passing football team.
And here's the handoff to Enunwa, who figures to be a big part of this offense this year.
It was a pass. This is what they're going to do. You know, it looks like a handoff. He's going to just come around instead of using the jet sweep. They pitch it that way. If there's any disconnection with the ball, then it just is an incomplete pass. And Quincy Enunwa, 81, second year, big improvement. Look out for him. They're going to use him in a lot of different ways here in this offense.
You know, official stats has given him a carry, a rush, not a completion for Fitzpatrick. They could review that or change that. But 2nd and 1, Fitzpatrick with a little bobble and takes off as he ducks under the hit. And that move allows him to gain 4 and the first. He went right under Michael Johnson.
Well, they know this well. Bad snap. But the Cincinnati Bengals, don't forget, when Fitzpatrick was there, Paul Gunther, the defensive coordinator, used to have to tell him, coaches, quit scrambling around so much. We don't talk about it a lot when you talk about Fitzpatrick, but an effective mobile quarterback.
And a first down for the Jets at the 35. Knocked down. He was trying to hit Forte, and that was Carlos Dunlap, coming off his huge season. Now the Jets, new left tackle, Ryan Clady, with Ferguson retiring, but watch right tackle today against Dunlap. Ijelana gets the start. We'll see Quali, we believe, on a few downs as well. Matt Forte, the free agent signee by way of Chicago. 8 years with the Bears.
I think you said it right. We're going to watch the right tackle. That's against Carlos Dunlap, 96 a lot. That's why Fitzpatrick early, get rid of the football fast.
And a run up the middle for about 3, maybe 4. Forte's first carry as a Jet. We'll give him 3. Cincinnati's defense, what a defensive front they have. Both of these teams just loaded on the defensive line. Geno Atkins, a star in this league. Maualuga in the middle. They're without Vontez Perfect. He was out the first 3 games for repeated player safety violations. And Adam Jones had his first Pro Bowl season last year.
Well, you can see the word loaded just about every level for both of these football teams. Very few weaknesses, or few weaknesses at all when you look at offense or defense.
Bilal Powell has come into the backfield on 3rd down, and here's the pass to Marshall. He was open in front of Jones, and he's got the grab at the Cincinnati 44. Picks up 18.
Well, anytime Ryan Fitzpatrick sees one-on-one with Brandon Marshall, he's going to take him down here on the in cut. You see Adam Jones one-on-one, gives him the inside, and that's what Brandon Marshall wanted. Brandon Marshall doesn't run a lot of routes across the field. Usually it's short to the outside and deep. So that's something that the Bengals probably were not even alert for here early.
Decker moves over to that right side. They go ground here on 1st down, and Forte rips off a 1st down carry for about 14. James Carpenter helped open up the middle.
James Carpenter, 77, is so big. Just can move anybody. The strength of this offensive line, really when you look at it, the center, but James Carpenter, the best player, the left guard, and left tackle Ryan Clady has come through for him with the retirement of DeBrickashaw Ferguson.
Enunwa is the slot receiver on the left side. Marshall to the right. 1st down and intended for Marshall. Get the CBS Sports app for inside access to your favorite team from the front office to the front row. You'll get instant coverage of every moment from every angle. Download the CBS Sports app today. Until this opening series, there had not been a single game snap during the preseason that featured Fitzpatrick, Marshall, and Forte on the field at the same time. They've got 5 wides now on 2nd and 10. And the quick throw over to Forte. He's near another 1st down, ridden down by Dansby.
Well, what we say in the pregame, Jim, we talked about it. Matt Forte in the backfield, but Matt Forte to the outside as a pass receiver. And it's just another way to get matchups that you like. And the biggest thing of all, to keep that Cincinnati defensive line on the field, get rid of the football quick.
That's the 3rd Jets play that's gone for at least 10 yards. Forte, since he came into the league out of Tulane, has had more receptions by a running back and more receiving yards by any running back in the league. Almost 500 catches and over 4,000 yards. He gets another handle, and he's got about 3 on this one.
Well, you said it, Jim. Matt Forte, he fits this offense, I think, perfectly. In other words, using him as a wide receiver out of the backfield and outside, as we've already seen in this game. And people think, oh, he's getting to the end of his career, he's slowing down. What we've seen right here, what I saw in the preseason, still quick, can still get it done running the football.
They brought in the rookie, top of the screen, Jalen Marshall, 2nd and 7. As Fitzpatrick's throw was incomplete. He was looking for Jalen Marshall, and a flag comes out at the 2-yard line. Drake Kirkpatrick on the coverage.
Pass interference. Defense in the 27. The ball he placed to the spot of foul. First down, New York.
Jets love this to the outside, top of the screen. Little stutter. You see the contact by Drake Kirkpatrick. That's a good call. When you put your hands on the receiver down the field, you impede his progress. You got to throw the flag. 4 wide receivers, 1 running back. The Jets do that far more than anybody else in the NFL.
And a 1st and goal off that 14-yard penalty. It's Patrick's got a touchdown pass, and it's Enunwa with the grab.
A lot of deception down the goal line. You think they're going to run the football. He moves to the left, and Brandon Marshall created just enough of a barrier for Williams to hesitate. And lets Enunwa get wide open.
That's a 10-play drive covering 78 yards.
2 good scrambles or 2 good moves by Fitzpatrick, I think, were the key to that drive.
Nick Folk's extra point is good. Quincy Enunwa, we told you he's going to be a big part of this Jets offense this season. He's got his first career NFL touchdown. Jets' first drive of the season produces a touchdown. They picked up 6 first downs on their way to the touchdown pass from Fitzpatrick to Quincy Enunwa.
Excellent game planning by Chan Gailey. That was the key. Get rid of the football. A lot of different looks. Tough on the Bengals defense.
This can be returned. It's a rookie stepping up for it. Alex Erickson out of Wisconsin. And he is met just past the 20.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. We remember. AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by the new 2017 Acura MDX, precision-crafted performance.
Second series for Cincinnati. Look at this formation. They only had 3 down linemen, and Green takes a little bubble screen out for about 15, maybe 16 yards.
Well, this is a little Hugh Jackson look that he brought to the Bengals. You look out here, there's 3 guys. Sorry, there's 2 defenders. So Andy Dalton, can't clear the telestrator. Andy Dalton just says, well, we got 3 on 2. I'm taking that, and that's what he does. Just reads which side to throw the football to or run the read option out of it.
Now they spread out again as Hill comes to the near side from the 36. Dalton pressured. Gets away for a moment, but not the second time. It's McClendon making another tackle. Leonard Williams had the early pressure, a loss of 5.
Well, they're confused because Andy Dalton is calling a pass, and A.J. Green goes down the field and is blocking. He's watching A.J. Green. He's down the field blocking number 58, Henderson. So crowd noise is a factor. Look there, he's blocking. Andy Dalton wants to throw. The Jet crowd getting involved.
2 sacks already of Dalton. 2nd and 15. Looks right, goes left, and over the head of Uzama, and a flag is out near the line of scrimmage.
Well, Ken Zampese, first time calling plays, offensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals. What a first test, right? This Jet defense and all the things they're doing, they're really showing some different looks that they did not even show once during the preseason.
Holding on the offense. That penalty's declined. Brings up third down.
There is Zampese taking over for Hugh Jackson, who's the head coach now in Cleveland, but he's been a part of this system for a long time.
14 years, 13 years as a quarterback coach, now the offensive coordinator. Of course, he's very excited about this opportunity. And putting his stamp on this offense, which I think he wants it to be more physical. Hard to do that against this Jets defensive front.
Well, this offense needs 15 yards for a first on third down. Dalton, pass, intercepted. It is picked off and returned down to the 36-yard line by Marcus Williams.
Well, we talked about this, and we're going to talk about this a lot today. Pressure on the quarterback. Inside, Andy Dalton has to make a quick decision. Do I throw it or take the sack? Well, he's taking a couple sacks, so he gambles. Watch inside. There comes Leonard Williams. Oh, my gosh, big hit, too.
Yeah, that by Williams. He was trying to get the pass to the rookie Boyd, but Williams, who had 6 picks last year, has one in the first quarter.
Todd Bowles says no matter what we do, we've got to hit the quarterback. I think your team listened to you. So they're hitting the quarterback.
A fake to Forte, now throw it to him. And he's got blockers out front. Forte inside the 20 and all the way down to the 10. Brian Winters was one of those waiting to lead the brigade down to the 10-yard line.
Well, what happens is, watch the defensive linemen. They're so excited to finally get some pressure. Oh, it's a screen. Now they can't chase it from behind. And I think what we're seeing, why they brought Matt Forte here to the New York Jets, because he fits, once again, Chan Gailey's offense.
He's already caught a couple of passes for 34. That one went for 24.
Man.
He's also run it 3 times for 20. Gets another carry here for 2.
Okay, I'm settling down now, okay? You know.
No, don't.
It's unbelievable.
It is
But
such a high to get it started.
It is.
This crowd is so...
It's electric. It's
absolutely as intense as you can ever see it at the start of a game.
It is, and the Bengals, they got to find a way to hold this Jets offense to a field goal and let this game settle down a little, because the crowd, the Jets, the players, the coaches, they're all on fire right now.
3 receivers to the right, 2nd and 8. It's Patrick. Throws it into the ground as there was nothing available. Third and 8 from the 9 on the way. The king of comedy is coming back to CBS. Kevin James returns to the place where it all started. Kevin Can Wait premieres Monday, September 19th. After The Big Bang Theory, only CBS.
Well, obvious passing situation. Fitzpatrick, if he wants to pick up the first down, this is a chance. We'll see. We have Qualley in at right tackle, not Ijalana. Can Carlos Dunlap win that matchup?
And he's got Powell in the backfield, not Forte. And the throw is in the direction. Got another flag down, by the way. That was intended for Brandon Marshall.
Grabbing the face mask. Running half the distance to the goal line. First down.
So, roughing the passer is the call.
Oh, grab the face mask. Oh. Nobody open down the field either. Fitzpatrick basically throwing the football away. Well, I don't know. He doesn't know where he's throwing it because he can't see.
He's looking out of the ear hole.
Yeah. Well, I've done that before.
So it's the second red zone penalty against the Cincinnati defense. Just when you thought they might have stopped them, held them to a field goal, Jets have first and goal from the 4. End zone bound, tipped around, incomplete. That was Kirkpatrick with the coverage on Marshall.
There you go. When you're one-on-one out there, no matter who you are, number 15's next to you, look out, because Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to give Brandon Marshall these opportunities. Kind of misread the coverage. Should have thrown it high and behind him. Tried to throw it before Kirkpatrick looked back, but he was ready for it. They do. Listen, Jim, this Jets offense is giving so many looks with formations and different players. The Bengals are really having a hard time finding where to go and line up.
Second and goal at the 4. Fitzpatrick's pass. And a hit on the back end of that by Iloka. No flag intended for Marshall.
Well,
a little out of reach.
Out of reach. Boy, he just threw it so hard. There was just no way. I mean, he reared up and threw it. Iloka, does he stay low? Up, he goes high. Got lucky. Could have been called. Fitzpatrick upset because he knows if he just throws it right to the stomach of Brandon Marshall can catch it and protect himself at the same time.
Marshall's lined up to the left. Third and goal. Pass to Powell, wrapped up right away. Great piece of tackling there by Josh Shaw.
Marvin Lewis really high on Josh Shaw. He's going to have to play a big part in all these wide receiver sets for the Jets today. Said he's going to comes in, plays the slot receiver, or that time, wherever they come from, really tough to do. Good job by Josh Shaw.
Nick Folk, who had his season end early last year, mid-season, had to go on IR. He's never missed in this stadium in the month of September. Got a 22-yard attempt coming up.
Big stop, though, Jim, by that Bengals defense.
Oh, he's missed this time. Bengals able to block it. So all of that, all those throws to the end zone, and the Jets unable to get any points off the takeaway. Thursday, your weekend starts right here. The Jets have to turn around in just a few days and take on Buffalo and catch up with their old coach, Rex Ryan. That's Thursday Night Football on CBS and NFL Network. That was Margus Hunt who blocked the kick from just 22 yards out as Hill wiggled as a gain of about 7.
Like this move by the Cincinnati Bengals, Ken Zampese, what he's doing, spread their defense out. And when you do that, at least you can make sense of what's going on as a quarterback. When you condense the formations, the Jets move around, give you so many looks. It's confusing to the quarterback, but confusing to whoever's going to have to block a pass rusher.
Second and 4. And Dalton goes to the gun here. Goes middle, and it is caught. On the run, Uzama inside the 30, and then double teamed at the 20 by Williams.
Well, Pryor makes a mistake. He's going to go down the seam here, and Pryor makes a play. He's going to be back. Tries to middle it, misses it, instead of just going and breaking up the pass.
Got a Jet player down, Calvin Pryor. That was a 54-yard play, and while they attend to him, we'll step aside.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Outback Steakhouse. Bloomin' great.
We're back. Pryor was able to jog to the sideline. That was a 54-yard pass play to C.J. Uzama, who's starting for Eifert today, who's inactive, and Dalton off his back foot has an open receiver. He was going back to Uzama, who was all alone at the 5.
Well, they busted the play before in the long pass to Uzama. That was Marcus Williams who missed the tackle. This time they just blew the coverage. They crossed receivers. Nobody on the tight end. Andy Dalton felt a little pressure, but still should have gotten the football out there to the tight end.
It would have been a touchdown. Since he had only 24 yards of offense before the 54-yard play.
Little shift to an unbalanced line again.
2nd and 10 from the Jets' 20. Hill. He's got 5.
Jeremy Hill, watching him in the preseason. We know about the fumble against the Steelers last year, Jim, in the playoff game, but he is in shape. He looked terrific during the preseason. And they need him, Giovanni Bernard, A.J. Green, always to play well.
Pryor heading to the locker room. Rontez Miles has come in at safety for him. 3rd and 5 for the Bengals. Dalton was going right back to Uzama. And Marcus Williams had a hand on it, already with 1 interception in this quarter.
Well, the football got away from him. And, you know, listen, you're a quarterback, and they've been putting pressure on you. Why would you think this time I'm going to have more time to throw the football? So Andy Dalton get rid of it so fast, off target a few times.
Mike Nugent came into the league as a Jet. 4 years the kicker here. 33-yard attempt. And Cincinnati is on the board. The one big pass play. Set it up. 7-3 Jets first quarter.
Welcome back. Marvin Lewis made a point this week to educate his young players on the tragic events that took place on this day. And yesterday he brought his team to visit the 9/11 memorial, and they laid flowers on panels where the South Tower once stood. Andy Dalton told us it was a powerful day for the whole team. Dre Kirkpatrick said while the team is playing for each other, they are also playing for all the men and women who were lost on that day. Jim?
All right, thank you, Tracy. Beautifully said. Marvin Lewis, can't emphasize enough how much it meant to him, again, to be put into this game by the league when the schedule came out. He said he's been thinking about it since the release of the 2016 schedule.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jim. You know what? And then to Andy Dalton, I said something to him about the team. He goes, yeah, there were probably a few guys that are going, why are we doing this? But he goes, once we got there, I think everybody's opinion, and once they saw people there crying, the crowds, and what it meant to everybody, that it would change anybody's heart and mind.
It's an interesting bunch here, this Cincinnati team, with all of its recent playoff experience. Of course, not leading to playoff wins, but a group that really was, most in large part, drafted, came through the Cincinnati system. They're close-knit, they're workmanlike in their approach. Business-like is the way Coach Lewis described it. And yesterday they had a shared experience they'll never forget. Jalen Marshall, the returner, and drafted rookie out of Ohio State, steps out of about the 23. Tuesdays this fall, NCIS's Michael Weatherly comes back to CBS in a new legal drama, Bull, premieres Tuesday, September 20th on America's #1 network.
Oh, I could star in that.
Yeah?
Bull.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just might have to add some things to it. You don't let your mind go in the gutter now.
Oh, I've got to keep it clean.
That's right.
Igelana's back in at right tackle, Phil. We saw Quali a little bit on the last series. Broke down inside the 5. Here's Fortet. For the first time, they're all over him. And that's Margus Hunt. Now, again, Hunt was the one who blocked the 22-yard field goal. He came to the United States as a real decorated track star, discus thrower, went to SMU and took up football while he was down there with the Ponies, and one year had 7 block kicks.
Yes.
1 year alone at SMU.
Hey, they drafted him high. They're being patient the 3rd year, and just what you said before, the team, they draft guys, they keep them around, and he let them develop, and he's just one of those stories.
6'8" defensive end, 2nd down and 12. Beautiful throw, and it's caught by Inunwa for 23.
Well, if the linebacker doesn't turn his head around, Vincent Ray does not see the football, and that's what Ryan Fitzpatrick read. So he just rips it. And one thing Ryan Fitzpatrick does as a passer, he doesn't hold back. I mean, it's all out. That's why he misses some footballs high, but throws like that come through.
And you'll be happy to know that first touch by Inunwa, the start of the game, has been now called a reception. Forte to the 49 for a pickup of 5.
I'm going to get paid as an official scorer, too.
There you go.
All right, thank you.
Everybody's listening to what you have to say here on this opening Sunday. End of 1, 7-3. Starting the second quarter, Jim Nantz, Bill Sims, Tracy Wolfson as the Jets snap it near midfield, leading 7-3 on a Fitzpatrick touchdown pass to Inunwa, Quincy Inunwa, on their opening drive of the game. Got time now. Decides to run with it, and is able to squeeze out a little gain, and the flag down too. Voids a sack and then rushes it for 3, but it looks like it's coming back.
Holding. Offense, number 67. 10-yard penalty. Replay 2nd down.
Called on Brian Winters. Ryan Fitzpatrick was in the news a lot during the offseason because they couldn't get that contract worked out, the holdout, whatever you want to call it. It didn't get settled until the end of July, and his teammates, boy, they made it very clear they wanted him back.
Well, they kind of did a little boycott at practice. Brandon Marshall, Eric Decker, and if I hold out, no, never mind. I'm not going to do that for me one day. But that just tells you about Ryan Fitzpatrick, though, Jim, what he means to the football team, how he's galvanized them. He truly is one of the guys. His communication in the locker room with the coaches, it's second to none at the quarterback position in this league.
Here's 2nd and 15. Forte with a single defender right on him quickly. Vincent Ray. That'll send him back a yard.
Well, we talked about it. When you know you're playing a great defensive front, there's Geno Atkins, Carlos Dunlap. We got to neutralize them somehow, especially when we have a young right tackle. How about that? Getting rid of the football in 1 second. Just get rid of it quick so they can't become a factor, and let your players get involved in the game and get a feel for those two guys, so down the road you have a better chance of blocking them longer so he can throw it down the field for more big completions.
So Fitzpatrick's 8 out of 13. He has not targeted Eric Decker to this point. He tried to dump it off to Powell, and it gets punched to the ground as it was deflected first.
You know what they've done, Jim? All 3 plays confused the Jets. Just watch what the Bengals are doing. Everybody's going to drop back, and they're going to read the quarterback. I know it's 3rd and long, but they did this on 1st and 2nd down, too. It's a little screen inside, so they were ready for it. They're having trouble covering them man on man. So good job by Paul Gunther changing up the game plan and confusing the Jets.
By the way, it was Margus Hunt who batted it in the air. And Dunlap, you could see he was upset he didn't make a better play on an interception off that deflection. Here's a beautiful punt by Lachlan Edwards to the 7. But Erickson able to slip through the first hit. And he is smacked at about the 23. Henderson on the tackle. 54-yard punt by the rookie from Sam Houston State, Lachlan Edwards. Calvin Pryor's been cleared to return. And the Bengals, with a field goal the last time they had the football, this could have very easily been 14-0 Jets. But
Margus Hunt changed this game around, I think, blocking that field goal. Kind of got the crowd, got the emotion of the Jets football team and the crowd out of it. The Bengals had a drive, should have been a touchdown drive, but they're back in there. 7-3 after everything that went wrong. They got to be happy.
They got Bernard in the backfield. They fake it to him. Pass. Blocked out of the air. But Green caught it and then got hit right away. Gilchrist. And a loss of 1.
What did Todd Bowles tell us on Friday? He told us a lot. You know, he tells you a lot with his facial expressions, but he says, look, the ball's going to 32, 25, and 18. And 80% of the time, and that's probably true.
Of course, this Jets defense without Sheldon Richardson for this one game. Suspended this one game for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. He'll be back for the Thursday night game against Buffalo. Here's a 2nd and 11. Jets defense able to drag down Bernard, pick up 4.
Yeah, Muhammad Wilkerson on the tackle. They bring in the extra offensive lineman. We've seen it a few times. Second-year, second-round draft pick Jake Fisher. So just one way to neutralize the power up front by the New York Jets.
Cincinnati has not converted on 3rd down here at the start of this game in 3 attempts. Revis is on Green. In the slot on the near side. Open right across the middle. That's LaFell. And Brandon LaFell darts out to about the 45 and a gain of 21.
All-out blitz, but a really good job that time by Andy Dalton dropping back. They switch receivers. And look, Marcus Williams has so far to make up in so much ground. Brandon LaFell gets that good head start and makes the play. Look at the blitz. Pryor coming untouched, but Andy Dalton did the right thing. Veteran quarterback, backpedal. Give yourself space and time.
First reception as a Bengal for LaFell after spending the last couple of years up in New England. Trying to fill the void. Lost when they lost Marvin Jones and Mohamed Sanu to free agency. Looking for the long ball. And it's there. Green has it for the touchdown. Dalton with the long strike. And Green beats Revis for the score.
A lot of deception. They faked the end around. They got everything going. And watch the Jets here. Here he comes over the top. Receiver comes across. A lot of arrows there. But why would you stay? Oh, he got caught just sitting there, the safety. You got to backpedal when you're a receiver like A.J. Green going down the middle of the field and help out Darrelle Revis, who was expecting safety help.
Extra point on the way. Nugent knocks it through, and Cincinnati with 10 points here in the last 5 minutes. A.J. Green on the receiving end. 54-yard throw by Dalton for the score.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Genesis. Take a breath of fresh luxury. Verizon. Welcome to Verizon LTE Advanced, the next-gen network. And by Domino's. Order online at Domino's.com.
Well, Andy Dalton finds A.J. Green. Green's 11th career touchdown reception of at least 50 yards. And there can be a lot of Jet fans out there, Phil, I know you're going to counter that. They're going to say, what's with Darrelle Revis? Has he lost his step?
He was there. In fact, he was almost relaxing because he knew he had no responsibility, and I'll show you why here in a second.
Marshall tracks it down and takes off. Finds a seam. Marshall still on his feet at the 40, 50. What a return by Jalen Marshall. Nugent slow to get up. 65-yard run back.
Well, Marvin Lewis said, boy, we got a lot of young guys on special teams, and you always worry about it. But Jalen Marshall, explosive. You can see it. Undrafted out of Ohio State. And right from day one, Ryan Fitzpatrick said he came in and acted like he belonged from the first day he got into training camp. Well, you can see the power, breaks tackles, and how fast he is.
And for the second time in this game, the Jets start in Cincinnati territory. Here's the toss. Tay, short side, nothing there. Williams bumps him out, loss of 1. We've got an update. Let's go across the river to the studio.
Cleveland didn't do much on the ground last year, Boom. But after a big completion to Terrell Pryor, this gets down here 2-yard line. That's Isaiah Crowell. Carson Wentz has thrown a touchdown pass on his first series of the day. It's 10-7, Eagles over the Browns.
Only 5 rushing touchdowns last year. Back to Jim Nance, Phil Simms, and Tracy Wolfson.
All right, thank you, guys. So Hugh Jackson's first touchdown as a head coach for the Browns comes on that play right there. By Crowell. 2nd and 11. Incomplete. Again, he's looking for Forte. What happened on the touchdown, Phil?
Let me just show you exactly. Marcus Williams, here goes the receiver. When he goes across, he's supposed to go back here. Then Pryor is going to take, or Gilchrist is going to take the in cut. Here comes the post over the middle. Watch. You can see Gilchrist waving. Where are you, Marcus? You're supposed to be in the deep middle. He got caught near the line of scrimmage. There it is.
Yeah, this is Gilchrist right here.
That's Gilchrist trying to tell Marcus Williams, you got to be back in the middle. You can see Darrelle Revis is expecting help. That's really a coverage that's put in for play action. Every team in the league runs it.
Here comes blitz on 3rd and 11. Over the top. And draws a flag. It's Iloka, who may have gotten away with one earlier, is flagged on the hit on Jalen Marshall.
Well, was he going to catch the football or was he going to make a hit?
They don't seem to agree on it on the field. That throw coming on a 3rd and 11. Here's Cleat Blakeman.
Personal foul. Defense, number 43. Hit to the head and neck area of the defenseless receiver. 15 yards from the previous spot. First down.
Well, it's the responsibility of the defender. Sean Williams hits Ryan Fitzpatrick, but it's defender's responsibility, regardless of what the offensive player does, to avoid the high hit. And it, you know, in slow motion, looks like maybe their helmets didn't hit, but it's still the contact was high. That's why they threw the flag, and that's the way it's going to be all year long.
At the 25. Threw it behind Eric Decker, and that was the first time the pass was thrown in Decker's direction.
Well, couple throws, you know, man-to-man coverage, wide open over the middle, and Fitzpatrick just lets it go, and
he knew he had him.
He knew he had him, but that's, listen, you're going to have to live with that. You know, that's the kind of thrower he is. He has a long motion. He throws it all out, so it's going to get away every once in a while. He did it last year. He's going to miss him, but the good thing is gets a lot of opportunities with this receiving core of his.
And the receiving core has another rookie in, Robbie Anderson, for the first time. It's Forte, and he dives. He knew where he had to go for that first down, and I believe he has it. Yes, indeed. Gain of 10.
Well, they do so much. They drop Carlos Dunlap back in coverage. Man, Brian Winters, what a good job staying with the guy that's in coverage and helps Matt Forte. But Matt Forte always reminds me a little bit, not saying he is, but Marcus Allen. You know, he just got that slithering way about him. Just makes it look easy, covers a lot of ground.
Right 20!
From 15. There is a flag out. Decker with the catch. There is no flag. It's a touchdown.
Nothing you can do, Jim, if you're a defensive back in this situation. The coverage is good. Ryan Fitzpatrick read it so quick and just lets it go all out once again. Boy, and Eric Decker shows his power and strength, just overpowering Kirkpatrick for the touchdown catch.
Set up by the 66-yard kick return by Jalen Marshall. And now Decker, first catch of the season, goes for a score. With the extra point, and that is good. Oh, no good. No good. No good. That's his first career miss. He'd made his first 312 PATs. Quarterback addressing his offensive line. Fitzpatrick with 2 touchdown passes here in the first half.
Tell him, well, you're doing a really good job for me. That's what he's telling him.
So Nick Folk misses his first ever PAT, and he had a 22-yard field goal blocked. He's going to earn a touchback here.
Well, people question whether Eric Decker was really, when he came here, oh, he's a product of Peyton Manning's offense. Well, what do you think now in his 3rd year?
I think he's pretty good. That's what I think.
Here's what happened with the PAT.
Well, a little slice to it. It just looked like he hit the ground, pushed it right, ball moved.
I'm told on the Decker touchdown that a flag had fallen out of one of the officials' pockets and picked it up. So there was a momentary pause there, but it goes as another Fitzpatrick touchdown pass, and Dalton for the 3rd time gets buried behind the line of scrimmage. This time it's McClendon who's off to a great start as a Jet. His 2nd sack.
Yes, he's against Bodine in the center, and he's been doing this today a couple times. They got a little screen. That's one reason, but it happened so fast. And McClendon, everybody thought nothing about this pickup. Played at Pittsburgh, where your job is to protect linebackers. Here, you're allowed to make plays like the defensive line. Get up the field. You can see he's a good athlete. Good sack there by him.
Yeah, it set him back 9 yards. They signed him in the offseason after Harrison left for the Giants. Dalton! Yet again, they get to the quarterback. Leonard Williams. Wilkerson also there.
Well, now you understand why Andy Dalton's missed a few passes. That time they just run a little game. They cross defensive linemen, and Andy Dalton, just expecting the pressure, moves too fast and gets sacked again. Now you got the crowd. A draw play really looks good here.
Back to the feverish start we had in the opening minutes. 3rd and 20. Tried to go screen to Bernard, and the Jets break it up. David Harris.
Wow, they were all over that. That was dangerous too.
So Huber will come out to punt, and Jalen Marshall, who had the 66-yard kick return that set up the Jets' touchdown a moment ago. He's ready to do a little something here too. He was an outstanding punt returner at Ohio State. Flag at midfield. Kick out of bounds.
What breeze there is probably is going towards the Bengals, but it's not much, that's for sure.
Well, they mark it on the Cincinnati side of the field at the 45.
Yep. I've done quite a few Jet games in my career, Jim. This is as loud as I have heard this stadium. Well, I'm sure it's been louder, but not when I'm here.
During the kick, holding, return team number 41. That penalty being forced 10 yards from the end of the kick. 1st down.
So the Jets and Fitzpatrick are going to be coming right back out, leading at 13-10.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bud Light, beer with your team on it. And by Auto Trader. Find your perfect new, used, or certified car on Auto Trader.
The wait is almost over. Be there when the Big Bang Theory kicks off with a star-studded premiere that'll have everyone talking. It all happens Monday, September 19th, only CBS. Jets break huddle and ready to take this snap from their own 45. There's Forte waiting for him to develop. And he's got a couple into the arms of Dansby. Give him 3.
Well, big story, and I thought this was going to be huge. Who wins the game today? Geno Atkins. Can you block him inside? Brian Winters, excellent job. Pushes it to the outside. Good throwing lane, and then Fitzpatrick just lets one of those fastballs go. Inside, Geno Atkins double team. Look at the space. Back shoulder, touchdown throw. So, terrific game plan. Geno Atkins, look at the pressure he gets from pass rushing compared to everybody else on the inside of their defensive line. It tells you how important he is to the outcome of this game.
On 2nd and 7, Forte able to drag a defender with him for a first down. Boy, he's been having to listen to all this talk about, hey, he's going to be 31 during the season. He turns 31 in December. Had a hamstring that was holding him up a little bit early in camp, and a lot of doubters out there about how much he's going to be able to help him.
Well, you know, you're right. Of course there was doubters, but if you watched him in preseason, you could see the legs are back. Just like Darrelle Revis, you can see the pop and the speed that they have. And now, Jim, the offense is not, you just can't focus on Matt Forte because they have so many other weapons, and he catches you by surprise.
Got 79 yards so far in this first half. And Enunwa is open. Holds on to it at the 40. Good tackle, though, right away by Adam Jones. Pick up a 4.
Yeah. You know, Enunwa, I had a chance last year to watch him work out. He was throwing with some guys, so I just went over and watched by my house, and I go, who is this tight end? And, you know, he's the wide receiver, and it took him a while to really get to find his place on the team last year. But, boy, as he blossomed, that's all we heard when we were at Jets on Friday. He's so big, they really basically play him as a tight end. That's why the Jets don't throw it too often to their real tight ends, I guess you would say.
2nd and 7. There's Forte. Ray is on him right away. Talking to Brandon Marshall about Enunwa. He wanted to make sure we knew that this was a guy that was going to get a lot of touches. Marshall may not have those numbers he had last year, in a large part because of Enunwa. He says he's 100 times better than he was last year.
Yeah, well, he talked about him. You know, we know about Eric Decker, and then Jalen Marshall. We've seen his little impact on special teams, but he's a terrific receiver too.
Marshall has Chris Lewis Harris on him for this 3rd down snap. 3rd and 5. Lewis Harris comes up to bring him down, but Bilal Powell with the catch and a gain of 7.
They had it read right. Backs coming out. Here comes the blitz inside. And if you want to blitz, we'll just get rid of it really quick on a 3rd and makeable situation. Great job by Ryan Fitzpatrick getting rid of it fast and picking up the first down to Powell. Like the Jets knew that blitz was coming, had the perfect play for it.
Forte.
What do you think about my Marcus Allen?
No, I'd say it's a really good one. It's part of it with the way he glides at times.
Yeah, that's it. Now, he can't jump over the 22 people like Marcus always did down at the goal line. But he is a glider. He's smooth, and nothing's that sudden, so he can make the cut and still go forward at the same time, which is why he's been in the league and been such a superstar, or such a star, I should say, for many years.
12 carries for 53. It's Enunwa. And he shoved back a couple.
Yeah, they're ready for that now. It's the 3rd time we've seen that action. They try to screen off of it. The one time they didn't pass it to Enunwa. I'm not sure. Fitzpatrick tried to get it out of his hand quick enough, but that was tight.
Well, now that you've taken over the official statistician role, you want to call that a catch, a carry? What do you want?
Hey, I'm just jealous I didn't get
doing it all
like that as a quarterback. I mean, man, I tell you, that's a gimme.
It's going as a pass and a catch. For Enunwa's 5th reception.
I could hit 50% of those.
Yeah, I think you could. I like your odds. Timeout called by the Bengals defense. Jets are going to face a 3rd and 5 at the Cincinnati 27. And they've got a lot of different options with this offense. This offense that Ryan Fitzpatrick was so eager to see it on the field. He said, we are way more talented on offense than last year, and they put up big numbers a year ago.
You know, I was always taught never to predict and say things like that. Look at the distribution, I should say. But that's a good problem to have. Who to throw to. A lot of guys that can win one-on-one matchups.
Marshall on the near side with one catch that came on just the 5th snap for the Jets today. Sidearm sling and knocked down. And back to Enunwa. That's Michael Johnson in coverage. And Nick Falk will come out and try to atone for that missed extra point and blocked field goal from earlier. It could be about a 45-yard attempt coming up.
Good change up on defense. Played a zone, dropped the defensive lineman back. Made the pass incomplete.
Take 45 yards with Edwards on the hole. And that one is good.
Looked like it was moving, though, didn't it?
I thought it was starting out like the way it was moving on the PAT that went wide right. But make it now 16-10 Jets.
A little breeze up there, just enough to push it right. But still hit solid enough to get it through the goalpost.
Hey, our whole CBS Sports family with heavy hearts this week. One of our longtime colleagues, tape operator Mark Zanoni. He would have been with us this football season, passed away just last week. Worked on so many of our marquee events, the Super Bowl, the Masters, the NCAA basketball tournament. He also recently worked the Olympics in Rio for NBC. Just 49 years old. Leaves behind 3 children, Mark Jr., Joe, and Amelia. Hope those children know how much we enjoyed sharing the journey with Mark all these years. We're going to miss him. So we've had some swings here. The Bengals had rattled off 10 unanswered. Now the Jets have come back with a run of 9 of their own. Adam Jones. How about that by Thomas? Lawrence Thomas holds him to a 16-yard return. You're just always anticipating that Adam Jones is going to get past the first couple of players. Not this time.
Well, you don't often on kickoff teams see a defensive lineman, but Lawrence Thomas, tremendous athlete, comes from Michigan State. He was actually the fullback for a while for who?
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell. His first 2 years, he was strictly a fullback.
So
got a lot of high hopes for him. Just a rookie, undrafted. Quick throw. He's got the ball. And he shoved out, but not until he picks up about 15. Marcus Williams had to push him out. 3 minutes and 10 seconds to go in this first half.
Well, here we go with that formation again. 4 people to the right. Offensive lineman out there. Andy Dalton's going to read the look.
Another quick throw to LaFell. Waiting for the blockers to create a seam. I'm going to say he stepped out back here about 4 yards short of the first.
Hugh Jackson lives on in Cincinnati. They go out there. Look, there's not enough guys. They got more offensive players than defensive players. So Andy Dalton, for the second time, gets an easy completion.
Dalton still has it. And he gets the corner and gets the first down. Run of 5 for Dalton.
Well, he does keep the ball. They do use that zone read package with Andy Dalton. Usually it's on 3rd down or near the goal line to catch you when you least suspect it, but they need that first down to find a way to get it. Good job by Dalton.
Great drop back. in Uzama, who had that 54-yard catch in the first quarter. Again, Tyler Eifert, he's out at ankle surgery almost 4 months ago. There he is. Street clothes on the sideline. They said it's possible he could be back next week, but you start to get the feeling it might be week 3 or 4 before he comes back. We've reached the 2-minute warning, and the Jets lead at 16-10. Coming up, the Verizon Halftime Report. JB and the crew, all the latest scores and highlights, and a preview of the Thursday night game on CBS and NFL Network. Jets Bills. Verizon Halftime Report. 2nd and 5. One timeout for the Bengals, and a swing it over for another first down. First catch for Tyler Boyd, who had a big career, leaving after 3 years at Pitt, drafted in the 2nd round. Got a gain of 10.
That'll make you feel good, you know, get that first. All right, now I'm in the game.
Yeah, we were in the break saying,
yes,
when are we going to see Boyd get into this?
Well, that formation they used quite a bit in the preseason. Tight end to the right, 3 receivers to the left. Jets didn't have enough guy. Good call by Ken Zambeezi.
Give it to Bernard. And the Jets are waiting for him. It's Harris along with Maudlin. Holds him to 1.
Of course, always when you're in situations like this, you want to score, but you're watching the clock for yourself, and of course, you're watching the clock also. Let's don't give it up too quick and give it back to the Jets.
Here's Dalton, play action down the field, and that draws a flag. Buster Screen was trying to defend Tyler Boyd.
Well, he was in great position.
Pass interference. Defense, number 41. Ball we placed at the spot of the foul. First down, Cincinnati.
Puts him inside the 20.
Going right up the middle, number 41. And he just got too impatient. Felt like the football was going to get there before it did. Buster Screen did. That's why he grabs and gets the penalty.
25-yard penalty. Cincinnati set up at the 18. 5 wides. Dalton. Goes to the sideline, and Revis pushes out Green. He'll take the 5. 4 or 5 picked up on that.
Yeah, you know, you even saw on that short throw, didn't you, Jim? We got a great view that Andy Dalton knows it's Revis, threw it to the outside, because Darrelle Revis reads the quarterback and reacts as well as any corner in this NFL. Watch his receiver and the QB at the same time.
2nd and 6. And that's a nice catch for a first down by Green.
As I just said that, he was doing it. He was watching. He sees Andy Dalton, but when he goes to make the cut with him, just loses his feet. Good throw again by Andy Dalton. What a drive.
Yeah, both of them stumbled a little bit, but Green able to recover quickly. Picks up 7. 1st and goal from the 7. Dalton 6 out of 6 on this series. 9 out of 10 in the quarter. And 54 seconds remaining. Dalton, here they come. Back at the 20. Leonard Williams and the Jets have put up their 5th sack of the first half.
I'm just getting ready to say, when they play the quick passing game, they're very good at it. Andy Dalton, one of the best in the league when it comes to getting rid of the football quick, but they made him hold it. They double-teamed the receiver he wanted to throw to, and Williams gets the sack.
And a timeout called by Cincinnati. It's last with 47 seconds to go in the second. Coming up again, the Verizon Halftime Report. JB with Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Cowher. There they are, getting all set. Work it around a little bit through the highlights. Preview the Jets-Bills game, which will be Thursday night on CBS and NFL Network. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report.
You know, it's a quarterback, and that look they had that time, you got to know when the safeties are inside, they're going to double. Everybody in the league doubles inside receivers, so you got to look outside. The Bengals not winning enough battles outside.
2nd and goal from the 18. Here's Dalton. Over to Bernard. Slipped through that tackle. That's David Harris. Again, playing with a shoulder bruise. Questionable coming in. He's played well. Holds him to 2.
David Harris really takes advantage of the fact that he has good defensive line in front of him. Very smart, great tackler.
He should be in no hurry here to snap it. 3rd and goal. Caught at the 3. And now you know why they had to do that. Get that field goal unit out there. I thought they'd go to the end zone. I didn't know they'd come up short of it. They get Nugent out in time. Wakeman got run over. The kick is on its way and a flag is out. Now the referee got knocked to the ground. Well, you're wondering as they're setting up that 3rd down play, I thought they'd go to the end zone on 3rd and goal. They went into the middle of the field.
They practice these type of plays all the time. And I always know this as a player and as a broadcaster. When you do it in practice, it goes a lot quicker than it does in the game. So if you think we can do this in 10 seconds, it usually takes 12 or 13 in the game. And, man, that was cutting it close. Very fortunate to get that kick off.
Well, this call is about to determine whether or not the Bengals are going to have a shot at 3 before the half.
Illegal formation, defense. The penalty is declined. Field goal is good.
The kick is good.
Kick is good. That means they probably covered the center.
Marvin Lewis wanting a clarification here. His team hasn't headed in the direction of the locker room yet.
Well, here it's a defensive call, penalty. It's a defensive penalty. Does Marvin think about remarking the ball and getting one more play on the offensive side?
Well, the tackle was made at the 3. It'd be half the distance. It'd be just outside the 1.
Well, I would not take the chance.
Did you take the 3, or would you go ahead and
I would
try to run a untimed down from just outside the 1?
I would sprint so fast in that locker room that I would even look fast. You know what I'm saying?
We hear Marvin Lewis just told the offense, let's get the offense ready.
Wow.
Blakeman just assumed they'd take the points and let's head to the locker room.
Yes. You got to check with the head coach. Very well said, Jim. And
here's the situation. Cincinnati had the option to decline the penalty and extend the period and take the points off the board. However, they have elected to keep the points on the board. The field goal is good, and this is the end of the half.
There you go.
Well, they thought about it. And by the way, I looked to the other sideline. About 10 Jet players that are still out here. The rest are in the locker room. They would have had to have brought them back out. 16-13 is the halftime score.
Bengals got to feel great that the score is 16-13. Really, the Jets had so many opportunities.
All right, Tracy, let's send it down to you.
Coach, just take us through those final 2 plays. The pass that came up short and then the option with the official.
It came up short and then the ball was going to probably be a little bit outside the 2-yard line, so I decided to stay with the points.
Andy Dalton sacked 5 times. How do you protect him better?
Yeah, we got to do a better job. We got to do a better job. Everybody working together, make sure we're on the right guys, so forth.
Thank you.
Tracy, thank you. It's the end of the first half with the score: the Jets 16 and the Bengals 13. I think Marvin was trying to get a clarification where that snap would take place from.
That's
what
exactly
he was waiting.
right.
Back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. (16-13). The Jets lead it, and we'll be receiving the second half kickoff here in a moment. Let's take a look at the first half highlight presented by DirecTV. It's Fitzpatrick to Decker for the touchdown. Fitzpatrick with 2 touchdown tosses. Dalton has about 100 yards more in passing yards, thanks to 2 54-yard pass plays, one that went for a touchdown to Green. And there you see it, 16-13. In some ways, it feels like it could be a much larger deficit for Cincinnati coming out of that locker room for the second half. After all, quarterback got knocked down 5 times, sacked 5 times.
5 times.
Threw a pick.
Can't run the ball, 22 yards rushing.
Yeah.
But they blocked the field goal, and they had 2 big passing plays where the Jets made mistakes in their coverage, and that's why the Bengals have hung in this game.
Here's Marshall, had a big 66-yard return to set up 1 touchdown. Boy, he's tough to bring down, isn't he? Got a flag down.
He's going to be looking for towels or whatever's on the field after that last spell. He was trying to run across there. He went down. It's not funny.
During the return, holding, return team number 95. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. End of the run, first down.
So the Jets will start near the 10-yard line. What are you looking for here in this second half?
Well, a couple things. I think it was a great job by Cincinnati just finding a way to hang in the football game. And the Jets, they got to be upset about the 2 big plays they gave up because they made mistakes. But to me, for the Bengals, the big thing I'm looking for, can they find a way to handle the front of the defensive front of the Jets? Because they have really owned it. Sacking the quarterback. They can't run the football.
Cincinnati clogging up that running play for Forte, holding him to 1. You heard Boomer in the studio at halftime. He said, this game feels like a playoff game. It's what he was sensing over there from the studio.
It did. Now they just got to get the fans back in the stadium to realize there's a second half.
No kidding. It was only about a third full at the moment.
They must be giving something away outside.
Second and 9. Pass 21. First down catch by Brandon Marshall. His second grab of the game.
Brandon Marshall is just so big. Watch what he does top of the screen. Just push the guy off, come underneath, and then just catch it. And that's, look, he's got the speed. We talked to him on Friday, Jim. He's down to 225 pounds compared to 240 pounds maybe last year. And he said, you're going to notice that I'm faster and quicker. Haven't had a chance to really see a lot of it here today, but saw it in practice and in preseason.
Says he's got it first. Here's a first down carry by Forte. Dunlap with early contact. And Petco finishes him off, holds him to 2.
Well, a good play by Carlos Dunlap. Being disciplined and not running and chasing down the line too fast, because that cutback, here it came with Forte, and he was there to make the tackle.
Five wides for Fitzpatrick and the Jets on 2nd and 8.
Mike's left there. Mike's left. Easy, new Mike. Mike's right. Mike's right. Oh, 5-7, man. Come on, those.
Here they come. And stepping up and away from the pressure. They had him on the edges. He was looking for Decker. Michael Johnson was in there on Fitzpatrick in a hurry. Let's go down to Tracy.
Well, Jim, you mentioned the empty seats. It has gotten extremely hot down here. So hot, I'm having trouble holding on to this microphone. But I will tell you, you mentioned it, Phil. You talked about the conditioning of these players in this first game. We will see if that has an effect down here in the second half.
Well, there you see on the field, it's over 90.
Well, it's affecting Tracy. And she's not running around. Well, I'm sure she's running around down there trying to keep an eye on everything. But
3rd and 8. Fitzpatrick again slippery. They had not sacked him before that play right there for the first time today. Geno Atkins.
Geno Atkins stays
Ray's there too.
You said it. Vincent Ray pushed him up inside, and once that happens, offensive linemen are going to lose control. To the left of the quarterback, makes him step up. And then Geno Atkins is there to get the sack. It's a really good first series for the Cincinnati defense. Paul Gunther changing things up, giving them some looks.
Lachlan Edwards. He punted once in that first half, 54 yards, and he had some booming hits during the warm-up. Here's another one, towering. It's Adam Jones waiting for it. Grabs it at the 30, spins right away. And again, he is knocked down hard. Martin is the one who ends it after a 6-yard return. 47-yard punt. Bengals offense coming out. Can they protect the quarterback in this half? From their own 36, the Bengals' best starting point. And opening series of the second half for them, and a flag brings it to a halt. It's going to back them up 5.
False start. Offense. Number 65. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Again, this offense with a lot of missing parts. Eifert won't be back, it looks like, for a couple of weeks. Jones off to Detroit, free agency. Sanu to Atlanta. By the way, he's already caught a touchdown today in the Atlanta game against Tampa. So there are missing parts, and Hugh Jackson.
Yeah, it's a lot.
$22 yards rushing for the offense on 6 carries in the first half. Look at his 6th. Muhammad Wilkerson. The Jets had 5 sacks in that first half for the first time since '03 in a game that they had 5 in the first half.
Well, it's just a switch. He comes inside. McGlindan goes outside. The offensive line can't make the adjustment quick enough, and he gets the sack.
Bernard almost was able to get through that opening, but Leonard Williams stopped him. Holds him to 3. Leonard Williams, who was many minds maybe the best prospect coming out of last year's draft. The Jets took him with the 6th overall pick.
Well, the old thing, take the best player. He fell to him, and I know they were happy with him last year. He's had a great training camp, good preseason, and you're just seeing, I've heard it from many people work for the Jets, how they think he can be a great player.
3rd and 19. Over to Bernard. Good hit on him at the 31. That's the first rounder, Darren Lee out of Ohio State.
Well, if you want to complain about one thing about this Jets defense, that maybe they lack a little speed on the outside, so they took care of that, or one of the reasons they drafted Darren Lee. Passing situations, fast, can blitz, and cover people out of the backfield.
So that sack by Wilkerson disrupted that series, really. Put him in a jam. Hubert. Not a lot of hang time, but drives it back to the 13. Here's Marshall. And it takes 2 or 3 Cincinnati special teamers to bring him down. 56-yard boot on a day with a lot of intensity and emotion.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. We remember. State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM. And by the Lincoln Motor Company and the exhilarating new Lincoln MKZ.
We're back on a sunshiny day with the humidity dropping. It had been humid here for the days leading in, but 81 and comfortable, but on the field, 91.
How was Friday's practice?
Oh,
oh my gosh.
You were wilting.
I was melting, there is no doubt.
Play action. That's a wobbler. It's right through the hands of Williams. Marcus Hunt had some influence probably on that pass.
I think so. You know, height's a good thing, and it's we saw him block on the outside to the right. Yes, he hit Fitzpatrick's arms. So those long arms, and as tall as he is, and that ball came out end over end. That's one of the reasons why it was not even intercepted. You couldn't catch it.
He just grazed the football as it was leaving Fitzpatrick's hand. 2nd and 10. Springs for first down and more.
You know, when you're a defensive lineman and you go to the quarterback, your big responsibility is screens. It comes to the defensive lineman. You got to chase them down from behind. But Forte outruns Hunt, and I think that's Carlos Dunlap. 2 guys chasing him. He knew they were close, but that's how they teach them. Go after the quarterback. If it's a screen, make sure you get down the field and make the tackle. Matt Forte just continues his
to shine. 107 yards. Scrimmage yards. 4 catches for 51. Ball to the ground. Looks like Fitzpatrick got back to it in time. And a loss of a couple.
Wanted the ball, as Tracy talked about, it gets, well, what happened is Nick Mangold was too worried about who he was going to block on that play, so he snapped it trying to get in position, and that's why the football came out low. If you have to block Domata Pecco, one of those big inside guys, you want to get in good position. Left a little too quick.
Take the draw. Now, dumps it off to Forte again. This had just gone for 17 a couple of plays ago. This time it's good for 8. It's not too late to play NFL fantasy. Join, draft, and play from anywhere with the new mobile app. Sign up free at NFL.com/fantasy. And I think if you were conducting your draft after getting a chance to eyeball it, be a lot of players that might be moving up a little higher in the draft, like Matt Forte.
Well, you're in so many leagues. I'm sure you have it in one of your leagues.
Right with you. 3rd and 3. Flings it in the area of Powell, and it's incomplete. So it'll draw another punt.
Well, let's watch it. A couple of times they've got up inside and like faked the blitz and did not blitz. They dropped in zone. This time it's man-to-man, and there's really nowhere to go with the football. That is excellent coverage. Finally, the pressure gets there. And another good stand by the Bengals defense. I'm afraid to touch that telestrator. So
here's Erickson, who had an 80-yard punt return for a touchdown in one of the preseason games. Because the way he started in the preseason, the way he looked, they were able to let go of Brandon Tate. Long-time returner here. Going to catch it inside the 10. Late signal for the fair catch. Mark it at the 8. 53-yard beauty by the rookie. The number 14 at Cincinnati has been worn by Sam Weish. Of course, went on to become a coach, took him to the Super Bowl. Ken Anderson, and now Andy Dalton. But we really want to send along our best wishes to Coach Weish. Coach Weish is waiting for a heart transplant. He's in a hospital down in Charlotte. And a former colleague of ours at CBS, and we're thinking of him. Sending him in love and prayers.
Tremendous coach, great guy, you know, just fun guy to always be around, and an innovator, as Boomer Esiason can tell you, in the NFL with that hurry-up offense.
Well, they've revved up now. They've returned to their seats. Bring it over to the near side with Green without a block, and he's past the 20. And here he goes sprinting down the sidelines before stumbling out at about the 37. They mark him. Tyler Kroft was one of those who helped lead the way for 29.
Well, what they did, they shifted everybody to the right, and it had me thinking, well, what are they going to do to the right side? And they come back with a screen, and what makes it work, because of the unbalanced line, the outside person now is not a tackle, it's Tyler Kroft who got the block, who gave him the big play. Look at Andy Dalton's last 10 throws.
10 for 10.
Quick release plays really have worked well for the Bengals, and another way to get the football to who? A.J. Green.
Here's a reverse, and the Jets are there to set them back. A big loss. McClendon.
Well, so I have to say, I told you so. You and I were watching practice. I said, you said, oh, there's the old Mets McClendon. And I said, yeah, this place is great for him. And because he gets to show his athletic ability. I'm not taking anything away from Pittsburgh, but you can see how nimble he can move. He can get around people. Been a difference maker here today for the Jets defensive line.
Yeah, he's been in on sacks and a couple of other tackles behind the line. 2nd and 18 incomplete. Let's get an update. Back to JB and Boomer in the studio.
What a day for Carson Wentz. Yeah, how about it, Phil? He is now going to throw his second touchdown pass, 35 yards to Nelson Aguilar. Eagles are going to take a 22-10 lead, guys. Wentz is 17 to 30, 222 yards, 2 TDs, no interceptions. You got to wonder what the Cleveland Brown fan is thinking about. Why didn't we draft this guy?
Back to Jim Nance.
Down the field they go, and it is caught by LaFell at the 22 of the Jets.
3rd and long. The Jets have everybody standing up. And what happens? Andy Dalton, what a read. What a job by LaFell. They have one-on-one. Why not take a shot? Look at everybody standing up.
Look, here's that strange formation again. That went for 49. And the zone read ducks ahead for 2 more. Dalton now with 3 pass plays of at least 49 yards in this game.
I'm not going to say that was a blown coverage the last time, but just the fact that they gave a one-on-one situation like that when it's 3rd and long after you've just hit the quarterback, you stopped the reverse, and you gave Andy Dalton, a veteran quarterback, an easy out. What a throw. Couple really beautiful throws deep down the field today by Andy Dalton.
Timeout called by the Jets. Dalton, here we are, 5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Now has 295 yards passing.
Well, you know what happens when you're on defense and the Jets, this is going to happen to you. They got really terrific players. They've said that many times. But when you do a lot of different things on defense, you're going to make some mistakes. I'm not sure that was a mistake, but nobody got it down in their stance to rush the passer, which helped Andy Dalton.
What are they going to do about these protection issues? They've already been sacked one other time here in the second half. The 6 times Dalton's been knocked down. That ties a career high for him.
I think Ken Zampese knows they're going to try, and they're trying to get rid of the football as fast as possible. So they've gone to a quick passing game just like this, and it's working well.
And Green out at the 14. It'll be 3rd and short, 3rd and about 2.
So, you know, Jim, what they're going to do, you can't block them. Not great against the blitz. So throw it quick if they're off underneath. And if they're going to blitz, they get tight coverage. Throw it over the top.
And with that completion, Dalton has his 18th career 300-yard passing performance. He splits out wide to the right. That's James Wright taking the direct snap on 3rd and 2, and he hurdles and heads to first.
Oh, boy, that was good running. That was close to going into the end zone for a touchdown. But James Wright, a big, strong receiver. You know, I actually expected to see a little more of him today. And that's why they put him in this shotgun snap.
Yeah, Wright's been out of football, coming back from a knee injury from way back in 2014. He's been out for 22 months since his last snap in a game.
Tell you what, the speed of Darren Lee came through that time. His quickness, he got off the block and made the tackle.
Looked like he had the first down comfortably, but they're going to measure for it. Mark it really basically right on the 12. And Cincinnati with a new set of downs. So they had converted only once on 3rd down before this series. And now they've done it their last two, including the long one for 49 yards to LaFell.
Yeah, you know, when you got a game like this and you're playing this Jets defensive front, there's not many teams that are going to line up and just say, we're going to run the ball and run our offense just old style. You got to be clever, deceptive, all those things, and that's what we're seeing from Ken Sampisi, doing a wonderful job of just showing this defense a lot of different looks and letting Andy Dalton get rid of the football.
That first down and 10 at the New York 12. Hill unable to break outside and get free from Wilkerson. No gain.
Boy, Wilkerson, Williams, McLendon. Take your pick.
Two of the best defensive lines in the entire league showcased here today.
This offensive line of the Bengals, they're not slouches. They're one of the top 5 probably in the NFL. So
second and 10. That's Hill. To the end zone for the touchdown. Boy, he ran right over Marcus Gilchrist. And the Jets, who allowed only 4 rush touchdowns all of last season, have given up one here, and Cincinnati takes the lead back.
Clint Bowling, the left guard, he is watching 65, makes a double team block, gets out, gets David Harris, and allows Jeremy Hill to go. And he is Clint Bowling, you don't hear his name, but he can pull. He is a devastating run blocker, along with the right guard, Zeitler, but what a job that time.
92-yard scoring drive in 9 plays. And the touchdowns confirmed. Extra point is good. Well, Jeremy Hill, he knows how to find that end zone. 20 touchdowns over the last 2 years, including 11 last year, which tied for most in the league. Got one here. Got a 4-point lead by the Bengals late third, and the Jets left 4 points off the board in the kicking game.
Wow, look at that ball go.
Blocked field goal from 22 by Marcus Hunt, and then the missed point after.
Oh, look at that.
Since the first quarter.
Yeah, they're just so effusive about the way the Jets started the game, which was outstanding on both sides. The offense has got to hit the reset button.
Maryland ahead for another 12 or 13, puts them over 70 yards for the game. By the way, week 1 continues on Fox. In the doubleheader window, most will see the Giants-Cowboys tonight, NBC, with Patriots at the Cardinals, and ESPN tomorrow. Monday night doubleheader, Pittsburgh at Washington, and the Rams at the 49ers.
By 20! Turn it!
Another good run.
Gets a good run, cuts it back. The left guard, James Carpenter. Haven't really mentioned his name today. He had an outstanding year last year for this Jets offensive line. And that's why that cutback is there.
16 carries, 77 yards.
Look at 77, just pushed Domata Peko out of the way. That's about 330 pounds a man trying to push him out of the way.
These teams last played 3 years ago. A blowout win by Cincinnati. You know who the leading rusher was for the Jets that game, the last time these two played?
No, but I'm going to find out.
Matthew Sims. There you go. There's another good yardage with Powell.
Beautiful.
Down to the 38.
But just to answer your question, running's in our blood. I don't know what to say.
Got it from you, man.
But, hey, this Jets offensive line, little change up. Instead of being cute and everything, a double team on Peko allows the runner to get outside. Hal, what nice job.
They've run it the last 3 plays for 12, then 8, and that one for 16 yards by Powell. The first 2 were by Forte. From inside the 40. On his way is Powell for another 7 or 8. 4 straight good runs by the Jets and Alabama and Ole Miss. Coming your way next Saturday. The best game for the best conference, the SEC on CBS. And the hoopla all begins with college football today, next Saturday.
Let me tell you something. We talked about the big matchup of Dunlap and Atkins. Ryan Winters, the right guard, had a good block on that last play. He is having an outstanding day. Pass blocking and run blocking.
Maybe they take a shot here after 4 straight big runs. That's a short throw. Inunwa held on by the ankle. Let it go is Lewis Harris.
Well, they're going to give him the forward progress all the way up there.
Found the 31. It'll still be 3rd and a couple.
Well, it could have been about 3rd and 5 because he got free of the tackler and went back.
Probably be it for the 3rd quarter. They gave him no gain, actually. It'd be closer to 3rd and 4. But we're through 3 quarters. The Bengals lead at 20-16. Back after this message and a word from your local station. Here's the quarterback matchup. Dalton over 300.
Wow. And Andy Dalton under duress, all that. This shows you he's a veteran. He's got talent. He turned whatever it is, and to look at those numbers, they're outstanding.
4th quarter, Jim Nance, Bill Sims, Tracy Wolfson. With Lance Barrow, Mike Arnold, and the crew getting our season started. We'll be with you Thursday night from Buffalo and Jackson. So with Powell, squeezes out first down and still driving down to the 15. Nick Mangold helped make that go for 16.
Well, Ryan Fitzpatrick changed the play. He saw the defense, gives the football to Bilal Powell coming across, and Tracy Wolfson. I think we're starting to see what you were talking about. Boy, deliver the blow. Get lower than the lowest man wins, and then Powell got down that time. But this defensive front, when you get run on like this, tells me you're getting tired.
Powell with 39 yards rushing for the game, all coming on this drive. First down from the 15. Now it's Forte for a couple. Well, you asked Marvin Lewis, would your team any chance might get a little worn out, having not played full games during the preseason. It's going to be in the 80s, and as we found out from Tracy, over 90 down on the field. He didn't think it would be a concern.
Of course he's going to say that. I mean, you're right. And I agree. I will say this about Marvin Lewis, and they do practice in hot weather down in Cincinnati. They did play a hot game in Jacksonville, the 3rd game, where he played his regulars at least through the first half. So they're kind of ready for it. But defensive linemen chasing the quarterback can tire you out.
2nd and 7. And there goes Forte before he's dead by Iloka near the 2. And this drive has been all about the Jets' running game, and it has been impressive.
The left guard, James Carpenter gets Geno Atkins, makes the block. It allows another good run.
Forte with 89 yards rushing, another 59 receiving.
Having trouble lining up. The Bengals are.
1st and goal. Keeper. He's short.
Sorry I didn't say it before the play. Spread offense, you're running the football time after time. And that's what you got to be looking for is the quarterback draw there. But Fitzpatrick, the one thing I'll say, he takes a lot of big hits, and that was a big hit there by Iloka, hitting him just short of the goal line. Man.
2nd and goal. And the Cincinnati defense is there to put up a wall, including Atkins and Hunt. And it's a loss of 1. Paul Gunther's defense, man, they've been giving up big chunks in the running game until these last 2 plays. They've buckled down now.
Well, they anchored down. They know there's so much you only have to defend on the pass because you're backed up. And they crowd the line of scrimmage, and Geno Atkins just won the one-on-one battle.
3rd and goal from the 2. Gonna go up top for it. Lobs it. No one there. Incomplete. And they're bringing out the kicking unit.
Well, you win the game at wide receiver position and defensive backs. Who wins at the line of scrimmage? And that time, Dre Kirkpatrick just does it. To the top of the screen. Just beat him up, pushed Derek Decker off for what he was trying to accomplish, and great job by him.
You also win the game by cashing in the red zone. And in the Jets' case, they've had now 2 series that have been shut down from inside the 5. Last time they missed the field goal. This one from 20 is good.
But I agree, though, right there, I would have definitely kicked a field goal, would not have gone for it on 4th down.
Down just the missed PAT right now. It's 20-19. Cincinnati. Your weekend starts here Thursday. The Jets head up to Buffalo. Meet up with the Bills and Rex Ryan, where the Jets season ended January 3rd. A win, they would have been in, but the Bills beat them. And we'll have that game back. They've won the Bills the last 5 games against the Jets. We'll see you Thursday night on CBS and the NFL Network.
Well, that'll be a good scene up there, too. I think that crowd's going to be ready to rock and roll Thursday night. First game at home. It's the Jets. And I doubt if Rex Ryan will have the team fired up or say much about the game.
No, sure not.
He'll downplay it. We hope not, right?
It's going to be a great scene. You don't have to worry about that.
Awesome.
Here is the kick by Falk. That will not be returned by Erickson.
Well, they're having success when you think of this Bengals offense. Andy Dalton putting up some good numbers. In fact, regardless of being sacked, because when he gets rid of the football quick, this is what they're really good at. 1.8, we've seen a lot of quick passes, and they've been very productive for this offense.
Here's your quick release last season, according to Pro Football Focus.
Yeah, how about that? Andy Dalton, not surprised. Hugh Jackson finds a way to keep us, or did, and just like Ken Zampese today, keep him in rhythm, keep his confidence high with those short throws.
That's Bernard with the run. He's still going. Look at this pile. Hey, that's across the first down line. They let go.
That's right. The pile did not stop, and I never heard a whistle.
Give Gio Bernard 11.
Well, I'll tell you, it kind of says a lot about this Bengals offense and this who they are, man. They just keep going. I mean, after the disappointment of last year, Marvin Lewis says we just went back to work when the offseason started. And
Dalton got one-on-one down this side, and it is
what a
caught. What an amazing effort by A.J. Green.
Darrelle Revis is all over him. Again, a quick release. When you go up there right on the line of scrimmage, looks like he got it too.
Oh, yeah, there's nothing worth challenging. 32 yards on the play. 9 catches for 154 and a touch. So from the Jets, 33 is Bernard. They get down to the 26 or 7. And you got Lee, the rookie, a little shaken up for the Jets.
If you play them off, they throw it quick underneath. If you bump and run like Darrelle Revis, they try to throw it over the top.
So Darren Lee in his debut, he's shaken up. We'll take a break.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by The Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Verizon. Welcome to Verizon LTE Advanced, the next-gen network. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
One World Trade Center and a shimmering light on the river and a glorious sight on this day when we remember 9/11 15 years ago. 2nd and 4 Cincinnati with 10 minutes to go in the game and leading by 1.
Tight coverage, all 3 receivers outside.
Dalton takes it in. It's a new record getting to Dalton. No team had ever gotten to him this many times. That's the 7th time, and it's Leonard Williams again.
Well, you got to blame the quarterback that time because everybody is tight to the receiver. He looks up top but doesn't throw it.
The way they're going, there's going to be a new version of the New York sack exchange from back in the 1980s. With this defensive front, everybody getting into the act. 2.5 sacks for Williams. 3rd and 12.
Got to get some yards to get a good field goal try.
Scoop it off the ground, and they say it is a catch. It's going to be short of the first. What a catch it was by Green.
That was unbelievable.
Second one on this drive. I mean, just amazing.
It's like he extended his arms to make the catch. Does he get it before it hits the ground?
Yeah, it was dragging. No, that's going to have to be
a
challenge right there. The challenge flag is out.
It's out.
The Jets are going to win this challenge, you have to think. And instead of it being like a 43-yard field goal attempt.
The New York Jets are challenging the ruling on the field of a completed catch.
It'll be an interesting decision. If they lose the challenge, what Marvin Lewis will do. So they'll go under the hood for a moment. Look at this.
After review of the play, the ruling on the field has changed. The ball hit the ground, tackled by Rule with an incomplete pass. Brings up 4th down. New York Jets will not be charged with a timeout.
Ball will go back to the 34, and will they go for the 52-yard field goal?
Well, looks like it. You can tell the ball, not control of the ball's on the ground. I'm just telling you right now, I would not try this 52-yarder. This is where the Jets missed the extra point, where it just moved right. If there is any freeze right now, we just saw the flags moving a little bit.
Well, they're going to go Nugent, though.
But I'm a conservative guy when it comes to these situations in games.
Nugent's hit his last 24 attempts in the 4th quarter or overtime. His long last year, his long make was 52, and that is the number here. Huber on the hold, and hit by Nugent. Good. It sails right, just like the extra point. Although this one seemed destined to be wide right all the way.
He missed it all the way. Didn't get a good connection. Kind of falls away from it, pushes it right. And I always say, when you see the football spin that hard, that tells you the kicker didn't hit the football exactly the way he wanted to.
So Fitzpatrick applauds as the Jets will take over at the point of the attempt from the 42. With 9 minutes remaining.
Mike 5-7, Mike 5-7.
Defense has been tough. See if they can come through and back up Marvin Lewis's decision to try that 52-yard field goal.
Sends it. And a flag as well. Marshall a little slow to get up, but he's fine. Battled some sore hip issues during the
Pass
early camp.
Yep. Offense, number 15.
It's going the other way.
10-yard penalty, replay 1st down.
So Brandon Marshall called for pushing off.
Yeah, watch him at the line of scrimmage. A little push, well, he extended his arm, didn't really affect the play, but that's what he sees that arm extend by Brandon Marshall. That's why they threw the flag.
Brings the football back to the 32 and a 1st and 20. Fitzpatrick going to run with it. And he gets the penalty yardage back. Again, coming up later today on Fox, the Giants and the Cowboys. Dak Prescott begins his career for real in the NFL, and then Tonight, New England at Arizona. Tomorrow, doubleheader on ESPN. Pittsburgh at Washington gets it started.
Well, it's Ryan Fitzpatrick. One thing everybody forgets about him, and you just don't think about it. We mentioned early in the game that he's a timely, dangerous runner with the football.
He's got 2nd and 11. He's got the first down. It's Enunwa catching it on the run, and yes, it's a first down for New York on the Cincinnati side of the field. Pickup of 17.
Looked like the football was hit. Enunwa's been doing it from the inside, now goes to the outside. How about this Jets offensive line?
They have protected Fitzpatrick most of the way, only given up 1 sack. Came in the 3rd quarter from the 42 of the Bengals. That's Forte. Just driving ahead to the 38 for 4. Inside 7 minutes remaining. At Jets' previous possession, they drove 73 yards and ended in a field goal. All 73 yards came on the ground. Talking about that line, they have been pushing and producing yardage for the backs. That's this one. Vincent Ray on the back right away of Matt Forte.
Well, you just never know, do you? We came in this game, I, of course, talk about it constantly, what I think is going to happen and what a problem the Jets' right side of the line could have today. And there has been zero problem from Brian Winters and whoever's been at right tackle. Ijalana or Qualley, both of them, when they're in there, they've done a good job.
3rd and 5. If they didn't pick up anything here, they'd have to contemplate what would be like a 55-yard field goal if that was an option. We have 5:45 to play. And a timeout called by Fitzpatrick.
Good call. It was going to be a blitz. He knew he was in trouble. There were 5 wide receivers, no back in the backfield to help him out.
The Jets have 1 timeout remaining. By the way, next Sunday, the NFL on CBS is living large. Doubleheader action. Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. I think there'll be a little tension in that game. That's in the early window, and late we'll be in Denver for the Colts against the Broncos next Sunday. All beginning with the NFL today, presented by Southwest Airlines. Check your local listings. Doubleheader Sunday, week 2 on CBS. Big play coming up here because you're so far back. It would be a long attempt if you decided to go for it at this stage of the game. You got 1 timeout left. The New York Jets. 3rd and 5 from the Cincinnati 37. Patrick down the middle. It's tackled with the catch. And then tackled at the 15.
Well, they faked the blitz, and they put the pressure on their defensive line. That's what Cincinnati did. And everybody's going to drop out and watch the extra time. Watch Eric Decker, middle of your screen, come across the middle. And Ryan Fitzpatrick knew right away, just by the alignment of the defensive backs, that they were not going to blitz. Going to be a zone coverage, and he found the man, the right man, Eric Decker, over the middle.
22 yards, his 2nd catch of the game. The other one went for the touchdown. And that's Forte off the right side and give him about 3. Inside 5 minutes remaining.
Well, they put the pressure by not blitzing. Can our defensive line beat the offensive line? And Fitzpatrick, as I say, just to repeat it, that extra time, huge first down, puts them in position now, no matter what, to take the lead.
The tight end on the near side, Kevin Davis. 2nd and 7. Quick toss. Marshall. Wrapped around the top of the shoulder pads for a moment, able to wriggle free and go out of bounds at about the 8 and a gain of 4. Another third down coming up. Jets bring in Jalen Marshall and Bilal Powell. They go with Powell. And he stopped short by about a yard. Got to kick it here. They've been slow to bring out Nick Folk.
Oh, yeah, you got to kick it. No decision for Todd Bowles here. You don't take a chance to go for it on 4th down when you can take the lead, but just a good aggressive play. Sean Williams coming from the safety spot, get up in there to help make the tackle to keep him short of the 1st down.
24 yards to put the Jets back in front. They get 23. Oh. Kick is good. With 3:23 remaining. Now Dalton will try to answer back. Jets lead it 22-20.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the all-new Chrysler Pacifica, imported from Detroit, and by Subway Restaurants.
Well, the Jets have taken the lead on a Nick Folk field goal. That drive, 9 plays. Remember, they were backed up after their first play was called back with a push-off pass interference, offensive pass interference against Marshall. Let's see if Adam Jones gets a chance. He's going to take that chance. And they cover him up for the second time inside the 20.
Not second guessing at all, but I definitely would not bring it out. The ball was high in the air when it gets in the end zone. Remember, they've moved it up. Tougher to bring it out of the end zone than it was last year. But Andy Dalton, 3 timeouts. So this is not a do or die drive, and you got to know that as a quarterback.
Cincinnati with all of its timeouts. To Green. And he's got a gain out to about the 23.
Well, they have used that screen play a couple times. Obwehi, the right tackle, got out there and made a good block.
Second and 3. Hill picks up the first down. Out to about the 28. Green slipped out of a tackle by Rivas, and he's within a yard of another first down. Flag is out.
Well, be right. You bump him, they're going to throw it long. Stay out, they throw it really short.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask. Defense, number 21. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down, Cincinnati.
Green to the sideline. And that penalty, though, look where it takes the football all the way to the Jets side of the field. The 48.
Well, also, even before that play now, the Cincinnati Bengals, they're sitting there. You look at the clock, and you're Marvin Lewis managing it. You're almost saying it's 4-down territory, even though they have the 3 timeouts and a 2-minute warning.
It's Hill. He cuts back. Turned a loss into a gain of about 4.
Really good run.
Cincinnati will probably let this run down to the 2-minute warning. Well, we're hurrying up now. For a first down, it's right. They'll have a new set of downs at the 37 of the Jets.
The 2-minute warning.
Coming out of the 2-minute warning. Coming up, the Subway postgame show. JB and the crew with all the early action highlights on the Subway postgame show. Still with all 3 timeouts. Hill, again, actually a good piece of running not to lose 3 or 4 there, Phil.
Yes, listen, you're the New York Jets. You got to get up now and crowd the line of scrimmage because you don't want them to get any yards to make that field goal try any easier. So it's time to gamble on the defensive side, and you got to put the pressure on the corners. Darrelle Revis, Marcus Williams, Buster Screen to cover these guys one-on-one. That's what they're going to do.
And again, the Jets are there to clog up any opening at all and set them back. That's Lawrence Thomas and a loss of 2.
Yeah, there's nowhere to go. When they crowd the line of scrimmage, you don't have enough guys to block them.
Timeout, Cincinnati. The rookie Lawrence Thomas, who had that hit on Adam Jones on the kick return, the undrafted rookie making a big play there behind the line. And it's a 3rd and 13 on the way.
Do the Jets stay aggressive like they were the first 2 plays, or do they play it safe?
Here's Dalton throwing, and it's Green with the catch, and he stumbles short of the first. They actually mark him a couple of yards short, and they bring out Nugent right away for the field goal to try to gain the lead back. We've already had 4 lead changes in this one.
Jets came with the blitz. Good job by Andy Dalton. They've had so many ways to get the football to A.J. Green. And he has been, not only is he catching the football, it's what he's doing after the catch. Just a little quick out. And he's caught so many short ones today and made extra yards after the catch.
And he caught a 54-yarder early in the game for a touchdown as well. 12 catches for Green for 180 yards and a touchdown. And now the Jets with the timeout here, their last. Green's tied his career high with the 12 catches. Nugent will try to put the Bengals back up by 1. It's going to be about 47 yards. He did not have a great preseason this year. He missed a couple of field goals and a PAT in the first 2 games. But in the clutch, he's done it many times. With 58 seconds to go, 47 yards, Nugent's kick is good. And Cincinnati takes the lead by 1.
You said it. Good in the clutch. He pushed it right. The kick before this time, almost right down the middle. Boy, and Andy Dalton got to be excited. He fought so hard today. What a rough day for him. And there it was, the last drive. A.J. Green was spectacular.
But now the Jets with no timeouts. 54 seconds to go. What will they be able to do? Will they be able to get them in position for Nick Folk to have a chance? 5 lead changes in this one. And the difference right now is one. There was a missed point after by the Jets in this game in the second quarter. And that is all that separates these two right now. Dalton 366. Forte with big numbers in his Jets debut. Green for tying career high 12 for 180.
Well, it's not like it was a secret. Todd Bowles talked about it. We saw some double teams of A.J. Green early in the game, but not late.
Here's the kick. It's a liner, and it's going to bounce into the middle of the end zone and a knee, and the Jets will come out to the 25. And again, the Subway postgame show will be coming up immediately after this one. JP and the team will take you all around the league. And this early window of games with all the highlights coming up. This was the missed point after we spoke about.
Well, the blocked field goal, of course, everything after those moments changes how the game is called and whatever, but still, they're going to look back and know that the kicking game, if they lose, let them down.
Figure they need somewhere between 35 and 40 yards with no timeouts. Fitzpatrick going to midfield to the ball. Comes out of the hands of Marshall. He was open.
Boy, perfect throw. They're playing zone defense. Brandon Marshall didn't take his eyes off of it. He had it there, but it was just a drop. And Fitzpatrick, just recognized the defense so fast, knew that was the open space, and threw a perfect pass.
Would have been a gain of about 25. And now on second down. Comes right back throwing and incomplete.
Well, one good thing the Cincinnati defensive line has done today is tip some passes, alter some of the throws by Fitzpatrick.
Is it Dunlop for the second time in this case? It is.
Yep, just nicked it. Throwing it to Decker. Decker had a little window there.
Third down with 46 seconds remaining. Patrick steps up, and it is intercepted. Intercepted by the Bengals. Josh Shaw, flag is out. The second-year corner out of Southern Cal steps in front of Decker.
What a play by Josh Shaw. Fitzpatrick took the chance. Josh Shaw was never looking at him until the last second. He turned and found the football.
Ruling on the field is an interception. After the play, we have a personal foul, unnecessary roughness. The Jets. It's a 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down, Cincinnati.
Watch Josh Shaw as you think when Fitzpatrick let this football go, good job of moving in the pocket. I thought he had a completion because I could see the corner hadn't turned his head, but he turned it the last second. Boy, it wraps it up. Control.
That's the clincher.
Boy, what a gut check by the Bengals in many respects today. And this game was exciting from start to finish.
Yes, it was. Marvin Lewis and the Bengals playing on the road week one for the 7th straight year. Over and over again, talk about how honored his team was to play in this game in the New York area on 9/11.
Well, here he goes, Jim, on a journey once again this season. Last year, he really thought that was the team. We had the defense. We could run the ball. I had a quarterback that always get us into the right play. And what happens? They lose Andy Dalton at the end of the year. I don't know if they'd have gone to the Super Bowl, but I like their chances to advance further than they did in the playoffs.
Final score is Cincinnati 23 and the New York Jets 22. Coming up next, the Subway postgame show for Phil and Tracy and all the crew. Jim Nance saying so long from the Meadowlands. We'll see you Thursday night from Buffalo. You've been watching the NFL on CBS. We'll join James Brown in our New York studio after this.